Morning. Good to see you all. Morning, everyone on Zoom. I'm very happy to be here and to give this sermon today. I was the whole week thinking about what to talk about. For me, every time I give a sermon, it's like a long period of time to get inspiration, but once the inspiration comes, like so many ideas flow and I feel so inspired and then I start putting many ideas together. So with this sermon, it's interesting because this concept of resonance is a super interesting concept that completely changed how I see many things now. It's like a glass with a different color. You know that you put a blue glass, you see everything blue. So for me, this concept of resonance helped me understand many things about myself, about heavenly parent, about true parents. So I will try to more or less walk you through this process, and hopefully we can all get some inspiration from it. So. When I was researching about this topic, it was very interesting that this concept of resonance is used in physics, is used in psychology, and also many spiritual teachings have this concept of resonance. So I will shortly explain about these three aspects of resonance, and then at the end I will make some few points. So first, let's start with the science, with the physics. This is the concept of resonance. When you look in a physics website on Google or something, it says that resonance is a phenomenon where an object with a natural frequency receives a forced vibration at the same frequency. This concept of natural frequency is very, very important. And I will explain why. There is a classic experiment to explain this concept of resonance using two tuning forks. Tuning forks are how in former times people were tuning the instruments, piano, or guitar. Because when you have a tuning fork and you hit it, they will vibrate always at the same frequency. And usually this frequency is a musical tone, no? Can be the E or the A, or depending on the fork. So musicians, they would hit, listen to the frequency, and then tune the instrument according to it. Interestingly, if you put two tuning forks, you hit one, and then you put the two tuning forks close together, the vibrations of one tuning fork will also make the other vibrate. And this is what is called resonance. Actually, resonance comes from the Latin of re, which is always like kind of repeat or recreate, and sonare, this sound. So resound, kind of repeating the sound. This is what resonance means in this physical sense. So if you have two tuning forks, I invite you to try it out. Or you can watch some videos. It's very interesting. And this happens with many things, not only with tuning forks, but there are different materials and different instruments that can also experience the same phenomenon, no, of resonance. The natural frequency is a very important concept because the tuning forks, depending on their shape and the material they're made, they will vibrate in a different frequency. So imagine you have different tuning forks and you hit one, only the one that is exactly the same shape and form and material will resonate. The other ones will not, because the frequency is not the same. The natural frequency is not the same. So, and this is very important because later on we will talk about this concept of natural frequencies. So this is more or less the physics, the understanding of resonance from the physics point of view. And now a little bit about psychology. Human beings, we are social animals, no? This is how people, scientists call sometimes the human beings, that we are social animals. But actually, I believe it's God's design. Like God made us so that we can resonate with each other. And this is even crucial for survival. This is how we evolved, basically. We started grouping together, and then we formed civilizations and societies and everything because we have this need to resonate with each other. There are some studies about storytelling, and when someone is telling a story, interestingly, the heart rate and other physiological phenomena of our body, they synchronize. The whole audience has the same, and the one who is telling the story as well. So right now, we are in the same frequency, so to say. For example, these two charts, they put participants to listen to an audiobook. And this is the heart rate of two of the participants. You see how they synchronize as the story progresses. The gaze, how they see the size of the pupil in the eye, also grows and shrinks. The breathing also synchronizes. So his stories make us all somehow unite and synchronize with each other. And I have a very interesting story with it because, as maybe many of you know, Elizabeth and I, we are expecting a baby. And recently I had an experience where I could more or less feel the synchrony with God. Because we are preparing, we moved to a bigger flat, and we are preparing many things for the baby. And, you know, furniture and buying many things on having IKEA, lamps and clothes and the baby bed and making space for the baby scenes and so on. And then I was thinking of the story of God creating the universe, no? Because sometimes I felt like exhausted and tired of carrying boxes and doing so many things that I was like, wow, when is this going to end? But then I was thinking like, wow, imagine God creating the universe. I felt like the same, I don't know, I felt like a very closeness to God in that moment. Thinking that I'm preparing all this, okay, I'm doing a big effort, carrying many heavy things. But it's for the future baby, no? So I can imagine that God was in this same frequency when he was creating the universe and the planet for us, no? So it's a really interesting how stories can make us deeply understand each other, understand God, and through parents and even people from history. Because if you read stories, like, okay, sometimes you get the emotions and you kind of understand it, but when you live it, when you live something similar, then the frequency is tuned, it resonates deeper, no? There are also really interesting studies about love and human beings. So it turns out that couples in a long-term loving relationship, when they get close to each other, the heart frequency synchronizes. I was reading this study, and they put a watch that measures the heart frequency and a sensor that measures the location of the people. And they gave it to couples, and they were living their life as usual. But when they analyzed the data, when the couple they were closer, the heart rate started to synchronize. Very interesting. Then they gathered a group of people, big like this, and they put random couples to talk to each other. And when they were talking to a stranger, the heart rate didn't synchronize. So this love and connection really makes people synchronize with each other. It's super interesting. So this is more or less the psychological view of resonance. And now a little bit to the spiritual. The Hoon was super interesting, talking about how we have these physical cells, spiritual cells, and when they come together, it's like an explosion. It creates. When a perfect minus appears, a perfect plus also comes. And not only in our movement, we have this concept of this resonance between spiritual and physical. But Christians, they also have this. There's this parable of being the temple of God. Don't you know that your body is the temple of God? This is basically that we have also the ability to resonate with God, no? And then we have this 4-position foundation. And this is what I said at the beginning, that this concept of resonance helped me to understand things on a different point of view. Sometimes when I give Divine Principle lectures or anything, it's a bit difficult sometimes to explain this concept. Object, subject, give and take, then the object becomes object, the subject becomes object, and they give and take with each other, and and you have all this arrow, no? It can get easily complicated. But now, I can see it from the point of view of resonance. And for me, it's like, wow, it's way more clear and easy to understand when I understand this concept of resonance. If object and object are in the same, vibrating the same frequency, so to say. And we always talk about this common base between object and subject. This common base, we can also see it as frequency. Same frequency. Natural frequency. So yeah, I hope this can also help us understand things in this light. And yeah, it was super interesting all these days thinking about this and looking at the past and trying to understand many things. I feel now that my understanding, and I see ways to improve myself and to grow. Thinking of frequencies. Maybe this is not going well because the frequencies are not the same. So resonating with Heavenly Parent's heart. So unlike physical objects, we can change our natural frequency. A tuning fork has one frequency, and it doesn't change unless you change the shape and the form then. But we as human beings, we have this ability to always change our frequency. And the idea is that we reach the highest of frequency, which is the frequencies of true love. There is also this emotional code. When a person in a bad mood enters a room, like the frequency of the whole room goes down a bit. If someone is always in a good mood, it also raises the frequency. So we can change our natural frequency and to tune ourselves to always to higher frequencies, frequencies of love, peace, and unity, no? So stories bring us all together. So let's resonate with Heavenly Parent stories. When we read how the story of the creation, the human fall, restoration, we can understand this logically. But if we, in our lives, in our daily lives, sometimes we can consciously think, okay, how would God feel in this situation? Or through parents. And if we think like this, we can resonate and understand their hearts in a deeper way, no? Resonance is crucial for love and unity. And we have the ability to really tune ourselves like a radio. So we can think, okay, how is the resonance within myself first? Mind and body resonance. How is my resonance with my husband or wife? Or with my kids? Or with my colleagues? Because if we understand these levels of resonance, we can do something in order to love and unite with each other. And very important, we have the power to make the spiritual and physical world resonate. Like, we are the only beings in the universe who are in this position between the physical world and the spiritual world. And there is a lot of power here. This also helped me to understand the aspect of physical growth, that you do good actions and then you gain vitality elements and your heart grows. So actually when you do good actions, what you are doing is raising your frequency. And then you are in tune with a higher frequency of a spiritual level, no? Higher angels and higher spirits can resonate with you and can support you in the physical world. So in the Divine Principle, we have this quote. It says, a person who reaches perfection and comes fully to resonate with God in heart will experience God's heart as his own reality. And this is very powerful. To experience God's heart as it is our own heart. And this is basically what our heavenly parents have been looking for thousands of years, no? To have this resonance with us. So all these concepts also made me change one concept. And with this, I want to close this sermon. Because we are here in order to build the Cheongguk, the kingdom of heaven on earth. And if we see it through the resonance point of view, we can say that the kingdom of heaven on earth is when all human beings are in resonance with our heavenly parents and each other in the frequency of true love. This is now my new definition of the Cheonilguk and the kingdom of heaven and earth. And I hope we can all, as a community, also resonate in this frequency of true love, resonate with our true parents, resonate with our heavenly parents' heart. And very soon we will be in this harmonious, loving, and united relationship with our heavenly parents and with each other. So, thank you very much.